Okay, friends, let's settle in. Welcome to today's meditation time. I invite you just to get to a place of calm and ease for your physical body, to bring yourself to a place of calm and ease as you gently close your eyes. And then see if you can feel that same calm and ease as you start to notice the next breath in. And then you follow it on that next breath out. Just really giving yourself a chance physically, mentally, emotionally to arrive. Noticing what's already coming up, what's distracting, what restless spots in the body are asking for your attention. And then give yourself permission to adjust. And then come back to that place of calm and ease. Just really honor the fact that you've shown up for these few minutes. Keep noticing the breath. Keep noticing that sense of ease that you are cultivating with each breath in. And so the inspiration for today's practice comes from Yoga Sutra, chapter 2, verses 30 and 31. And in Sanskrit, we call this Mahavratam. Maha means great. We saw that in the beginning of Mahatma Gandhi's name, this great teacher. And we see it here in this term, in this sutra that we were given, Mahavratam. And what that translates to are the great vows. V-O-W-S, vows. These great promises, these great commitments. And whenever Patanjali wrote this term of Mahavratam, he was talking about this thing, this concept called the YAMAS. The YAMAS get kind of this bad reputation as being these rules of things that you can't do. They're the thou shalt nots. But I love this idea of translating them as Mahavratam, the great vows. Meaning this is how I promise, this is how I commit, I vow to show up in the world. The yamas, this first limb of yoga, are all about how we interact with the world. And as we travel through these 8 limbs in the coming days, it's all going to be about our interaction with the world, our interaction with ourselves, with our bodies, with our breath, with our senses, with our meditation practice. But we start with kind of this outward view of how do we interact with the world? If you translate the word yama directly, it translates to restraint, meaning that there are certain behaviors that we're trying to keep ourselves from engaging in. Not thinking of it as something that we can't do, but rather that we have such a deep commitment, a deep vow to show up as compassionate, loving beings on this planet that we can't imagine engaging in these behaviors. So we restrain ourselves. And when you can think of it that way, it becomes this honor. It truly becomes this honor to be able to move through the world in beautiful and kind and compassionate ways. And so of these yamas, there are 5. And so just listen to the Sanskrit word. Just see if anything just resonates as you hear the sounds of these words. And then we'll sit with them and think about what a beautiful honor it is to show up in these ways. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. These beautiful ideas in Sanskrit that we have these words in English that will help us to understand them, but sometimes the words in English just don't seem big enough. But as we sit with these concepts tonight, just see what resonates with you of what does that look like in my life? How do I show up and exhibit that vow to the world? Ahimsa, the vow of non-harming. That when I wake up each day, I want every step that I take, every word that I speak, every facial expression that I make, every action that I engage in, I want it to be a blessing to this world. I don't want it to cause harm. And we all understand that in this human experience, sometimes harm happens. But this idea of ahimsa means that we have an intention to not cause harm. So just see that in your life. What does it look like to interact with your world, where you go to work, in your family, in your home with your possessions, with how you move around the earth, how you take care of the things that you no longer need? What does it look like to not cause harm? To vow to the world that I want to move every day through you and around you, and I want to be a blessing. I don't want to cause harm. Satya. Satya is the second yama. And the literal translation of Satya is truth. We teach our children to tell the truth. We teach them that it's not okay to say things that are not true. But something happens along this road of adulthood where the truth seems to get a little bit gray. But in this yama, this idea of Satya, see it as a vow, that I vow to you, my world, my family, my colleagues, my people, my strangers on social media, my whomever you fill in the blank. I vow to show up in a way that is truthful and authentic. Not only do I want to tell the truth, I want to be the truth. This true expression of my heart and my spirit. And I want to show you authentically who that is. Satya. What does that look like in your life? Asteya. Asteya is always the one that when it comes up, everyone just checks it off and says, there's no way that I wouldn't not do that. Of course I vow to asteya, because asteya means non-stealing. I always use the example that you would never go into Target and put something in your pocket without paying and then walk out to your car. But are there other ways that you steal or rob in your life? Do you rob people of the chance to know you by showing up as this different version? Do you rob people of your presence when they're trying to talk to you and share with you and there's a device in your hand? Do you rob this world of the opportunity to feel the gifts that you have because you hold back? So while you would never put something in your pocket at the department store, what does it look like in your life to live out asteya? Non-stealing. Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya literally translates to the right use of our energy. It's got lots of different kind of nuances of how it's been translated across the years. But the essence of it is, you have so many things vying for your attention. You have so much sensory stimuli coming at you. Do you decide how your energy responds, or do you let the stimuli decide? Do you work to the point of exhaustion? Do you engage in things that are not healthy? How do you use your energy so that you can go back to that ahimsa of showing up as a blessing in the world? What does it look like for you and your energy? What's your relationship to it? That's brahmacharya. And then that fifth yama, that fifth vow that we make to our interactions with the world, aparigraha. Literally, it's non-attachment. I like to call it letting go. Letting go. The same way that you let that inhale go because you know that there are things that your body needs to release so that the exhale can pull those toxins out and they can be gone. But what about all the possessions in your life? Are there things that you cling to? What about your relationships? What about your past trauma? What about your past resentment of people? Parigraha tells us that there is only so much space within us. We cannot hold on to things that don't serve this purpose of this gift that we have to bring to the world. And we have to be willing to let go of those things. We have to be willing to turn them loose, to release the attachment, and to live lighter. What does a parigraha look like for you? And so this idea of these Mahavratam, these vows, these great vows, just think to yourself, this first limb of yoga, it's the heavy one. It's all these behaviors. And am I willing to vow to the world, to my family, my colleagues, my friends, the people next to me on the highway? Am I willing to vow that I want to show up from a spirit of non-harming? That I will always come from a place of truth. That I never want to rob the world or anyone around me of the opportunities to know me. Am I willing to protect my energy, which sometimes might mean saying no or not right now? And am I willing to let go of the things that have become a hindrance to my journey, to my growth, to my sense of lightness and well-being? Am I willing to vow to live out these ways of living? I think it's interesting that Patanjali started with this one. We don't even get to the movement, the asana, until a little further down these 8 limbs. He started here. And he would always come back to these yamas and say that all the movement is great. All the meditation is great. All that breath work is so good for you. But if you can't move through the world and interact in compassionate, intentional ways, the movement is just movement. The breathing is just breathing, and the meditation is just sitting on a cushion, thinking some good thoughts for a little while. These yamas undergird every part of our practice. And so just think, tomorrow morning when you wake up, are you willing to vow that I want to show up in an authentic, non-harming, truthful, light way of being, and let the world experience who I am? See me. Am I willing to protect the energy around me and within me so that I'm not tired, so that my intention to be non-harming doesn't get overshadowed by my impatience? Each of these stands alone, but they also weave together, and they make this beautiful tapestry of these vows of how we can live. They are not shoulds. They are not rules. They're just agreements to behavior. And so as we sit for these next few minutes, let's just each see on our own, what are we willing to agree to? And while you're sitting with that, I would also invite you to just imagine a world where everybody lived by the yamas. And while we're not responsible for all of them, I have to believe that there are folks sitting in meditation around this planet at different times today, grappling with the same idea as we are. Am I willing to take these vows, make these promises to show up as a blessing to this world? Let's just sit with that for the next moment or so and just see what comes up for each of us. And as you continue to breathe, just notice what came up in your mind and listen to these words just once more. And maybe one will just really resonate and just kind of prick at your heart a little bit, and that'll be the one in the coming days that you just sit with, grapple with, try on, and see what it looks like in your life. Ahimsa, non-harming in my actions, my thoughts, my words, my way of being. Satya, truthfulness, authenticity. Asteya, not stealing, not robbing anyone of anything. Brahmacharya, not robbing myself of energy, using my energy in good, healthy ways. And aparigraha, being willing to let go, understanding that I have a purpose. And if there are things in my path, in my habits, in my thoughts that don't serve that purpose, am I willing to let them go? Mahavratam, the great vows. Sit with them. Try them on. See how they feel. And then maybe in the coming days, practice living one of them out. See what it can look like in your everyday behaviors. And then watch how it changes the way that you truly interact with this world. Namaste.